The sun had barely risen, and the town still lay wrapped in a quiet morning haze, when the world of a little girl named Harper shattered. In a single heartbeat she was only 7. Small even for her age, with tangled dark hair and eyes that always seemed too full of hope. For someone who'd seen so much hardship already. On that morning she sprinted down the dusty roadside barefoot. Her thin arms pumping, tears streaking down her cheeks, her breath came in sharp panic bursts as she stumbled toward a group of grizzled bikers who had just rolled into town and parked outside a lonely highway diner. The leather-clad men, towering and imposing, were wiping dust from their helmets and stretching stiff backs, not expecting anyone to approach them. Especially not a shaking little girl who looked like she had outrun a nightmare. The bikers turned confused, their expressions shifting from curiosity to alarm, as Harper threw herself toward them, her voice breaking as she gasped the words she could barely speak. "They're beating my mama, please help my mama." In that moment time seemed to split open, revealing the raw desperation of a child who had no one else to turn to. And the sight of her trembling hands, scratched knees, and wide, terrified eyes ignited something powerful inside the men who had seen their share of darkness, but had never walked away from someone who truly needed them. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and standing up for those who can't defend themselves, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Gentle Hearts. Your support helps keep stories like this alive. Harper's world had been unraveling long before that morning. She lived with her mother, Marie, in a small, peeling rental house on the edge of town, where loneliness clung to the walls like dust. Marie was gentle, too gentle, some said, for the harsh hands life dealt her. She waitressed at the diner down the road, barely earning enough to cover bills. But she always came home with a smile. For Harper she had a way of making miracles out of small things. Turning cracked plates into pretend tea sets, wilted flowers into table centerpieces, and simple evenings into laughter-filled memories. But behind her soft laughter lived a sadness she tried hard to hide. And that sadness became heavier the day she met Douglas. Douglas had seemed like a savior at first. Someone strong, someone stable. Someone who promised he would take care of them. But promises can be prisons when spoken by the wrong man. Soon the charm cracked, revealing the temper beneath. Marie learned to read the weather of his moods before he even stepped through the door. A slammed car door meant silence. Heavy footsteps meant fear. And a beer bottle meant danger. Harper learned too. Children always do. She learned to stay small. Stay quiet, stay out of the way. Until the morning when even quiet wasn't enough. It began when Marie tried to leave. She had waited until Douglas passed out the night before, then packed a small duffel bag filled with Harper's clothes and her own. She hid the bag under the sink, planning to slip out at dawn and take Harper somewhere far away. Anywhere would be safer, but Douglas woke early, suspicious, angry, and already wired with the leftover fuel of yesterday's rage. He found the bag and something in him snapped. Harper awakened to shouting and the crash of something breaking. She opened her bedroom door just in time to see Douglas shove her mother into the wall, yelling words Harper didn't understand but felt like poison. Marie begged him to stop, begged him to think of Harper. But Douglas didn't care. His fists answered for him. Harper froze at first, terror pinning her feet to the floor. But when she saw her mother fall and not get up right away, something burst inside her like a scream she couldn't contain. She ran out the door, through the yard, down the road. She didn't know where she was going. Only that she needed help. Anyone, someone, and fate, or maybe something greater, placed a group of bikers right in her path. The men Harper ran toward were members of a group called the Iron Shepherds, a brotherhood known for loud engines, rough looks, and hearts that were far softer than the rumors claimed. Their leader, a broad-shouldered, silver-bearded man named Hawk, saw the terror etched into Harper's face. Before she even spoke, Harper stumbled to him first, grabbing the sleeve of his vest, sobbing uncontrollably as she tried to explain through gasps. Hawk knelt, placing his large hands gently on her shoulders. And he listened, really listened. By the time she finished, his jaw was clenched tight, and his eyes were fierce with a rage that didn't belong to a violent man. but to a protector without hesitation. Hawk stood and signaled to his men. They moved fast, mounting their bikes. Engines roaring to life, a thunderous promise that they were coming. Harper climbed onto Hawk's bike, trembling but gripping his vest with desperate trust. The convoy sped down the road like a rolling storm. Dust surging behind them, determination blazing ahead. The house came into view, small, sagging, with the screen door hanging crooked. As they skidded to a halt, they heard shouting inside. Harper's breath hitched and Hawk's fists tightened. The bikers didn't wait for permission. They charged toward the house, boots pounding the ground. When Douglas appeared in the doorway, his rage still burning, he froze at the sight of 10 bikers staring him down, like wolves who had found the one who hurt one of their own. Douglas tried to bark a threat, but Hawk's voice cut through the air like thunder. Without laying a hand on Douglas, without raising a fist, Hawk stepped forward, with a power that made the smaller men shrink back instinctively. Douglas faltered. He tried to shove past them, but one of the shepherds blocked him. He tried to yell, but the sound cracked. And in the silence that followed, his fear finally outweighed his fury. He bolted, running past the bikes, down the road, disappearing into the distance, leaving Marie trembling on the kitchen floor. Harper rushed inside first. When Marie saw her daughter, her face crumpled into relief, so overwhelming that she sobbed harder than she had. Even when Douglas struck her, Harper threw her arms around her mother, burying her face in her chest. As Hawk stepped quietly into the doorway, making sure the moment belonged only to them, the bikers helped clean the shattered glass, upright the furniture, and call the authorities. They stayed until the police arrived, ensuring Marie and Harper would be safe. But the shepherds didn't leave after that. Not for days, not for weeks. They visited, brought groceries, repaired the broken door, fixed the fence, found a lawyer through a friend, and made sure Douglas would never come near them again. Hawk, in particular, grew close to Harper. He showed up with books, small toys, even a repaired bicycle he had rebuilt from scrap. Harper began smiling more, laughing again, and rediscovering the simple joy of childhood, something Douglas had nearly stolen from her. With time, the bruises faded. The nightmares softened. Marie found steady work, with the help of one of the bikers' wives. Life slowly pieced itself back together. Not perfectly, but beautifully enough to matter. Months later, at a summer gathering the shepherds hosted at their ranch, Harper tugged on Hawk's sleeve and whispered something shyly. She asked if she could draw a picture of him and her mom and herself. "Because you saved us." Hawk's eyes softened. He told her she saved herself by finding the courage to run. But Harper shook her head and told him quietly that she believed someone had sent him to that diner that day, for a reason, and maybe she was right. Sometimes the world brings the right people together at the precise moment they are needed. Sometimes kindness arrives in leather jackets with loud engines. And sometimes the strongest angels don't have wings. They have motorcycles. In the end, the town never forgot the day a little girl saved her mother by running toward hope instead of fear. Nor did they forget what the bikers did, simply because it was the right thing to do. Their actions rippled through the community, inspiring others to step in, speak up, and stand for those who couldn't stand alone.